morning, children. Today we are going to revise the first chapter in 8th standard history, how, when and where. Okay. See children, already we have learnt this chapter clearly, right? So let me ask you a few questions. Okay, what is history? What is history? History is a record of people, places and changes that occur over time. So what is history? History is record of people, places and changes that occur over time. Isn't it? Yes. Then how important are dates? How important are dates in history? Dates are very important. How? See, dates in history are just like a skeletal system in our body, right? See children, you imagine without skeletal system how our body would be? Of course, it would be shapeless, right? So, dates in history are like the skeletal system in history. How it dates tell us when an event was held, and dates help us to understand the relation of events in a time frames. Then dates tell about the events, kings and their policies and battles which occurred at a particular time. And also dates tell us the year a king was crowned, the year he married, the year he had a child, the year he fought a particular battle, the year he died, etc. So, dates are very important in history, right? Okay, fine. See, children, do you remember James Rennell? Who was James Rennell? James Rennell was the British geographer, right? And James Rennell produced a map of Hindustan. In which year? 1782. Okay, James Rennell was asked by whom to produce a map of Hindustan? Robert Clive. So, a map of Hindustan was produced by whom? James Rennell. In which year? 1782. Okay, fine. Let me ask you a question. Who was James Mill? James Mill was a Scottish economist and political philosopher, right? And James Mill published a 3-volume work. What was his work? A History of British India. In which year he published? 1817. And also James Mill divided the Indian history into how many periods? 3 periods. What are they? Hindu, Muslim and British. But generally, historians have divided the Indian history into ancient, medieval, modern and colonial. Okay, what is colonial? Colonial refers to the British rule. Okay, fine. Who was the first Governor General of India? Warren Hastings. In which year he became Governor General of India? 1773. Okay, fine. Now let us discuss about the administration produces records. Okay, see here we can see how do the official records of the British administration help historians to write about the last 250 years of Indian history. See, already we have learnt that the British believed that the act of writing was important. Hence, they got written up every instruction, plan, policy, decision, agreement, investigation, etc. And they thought that once this was done, things could be properly studied and debated. So the British were very interested in preserving all important documents and letters. For this, they established record rooms attached to all administrative institutions such as the village Tahsildar's office, the collectorate, law courts, etc. And also they set up archives and museums to preserve important records, right? Okay, fine. Now let us see the National Archives of India came up in the year 1920s. Okay. See, when New Delhi was built, the National Museum and the National Archives were both located close to the Viceregal Palace, right? This location reflects the importance these institutions had in British imagination. Okay, so important records are preserved in these archives and museums. These both are special institutions set up by Britishers. Okay, fine. Now let us see how surveys become important. See, the practice of surveying also became common under the colonial administration. See, the British believed that a country had to be properly known before it could be effectively administered. So, by the early 19th century, detailed surveys were being carried out to map the entire country. In the villages, revenue surveys were conducted. The effort was to know the topography, the soil quality, the flora, the fauna, the local histories and the cropping pattern, all the facts seen as necessary to know about to administer the region. So, from the end of the 19th century, census operations were held every 10 years. These prepared detailed records of the number of people in all the provinces of India, noting information on castes, religions and occupation. So, there were many other surveys like botanical surveys, zoological surveys, archaeological surveys, anthropological surveys and forest surveys. Okay, fine. Now, let us discuss about the other sources help historians to write about the last 250 years of Indian history. What are the other sources? The sources are such as diaries of people, accounts of pilgrims and travelers, autobiographies of important personalities, etc. Okay. So, we have revised this chapter. Now, let's go on and discuss the worksheet. Okay. Children, now let's see fill in the blanks based on this chapter. Okay. First question. Dash was asked by Robert Clyde to produce a map of Hindustan. Who was asked by Robert Clyde to produce a map of Hindustan? Just now we saw, right? James Rennell, right? Then, second one, a 3-volume book written by James Mill Dash. What is the name of the book? A 3-volume book written by James Mill, right? The name of the book is A History of a British India. Next one. To capture the characteristics of a time, history is divided into different periods. For example, ancient, medieval, modern. Right? So, to capture the characteristics of a time, history is divided into different periods. Fourth one. When the subjugation of one country by other leads to political, economic, social and cultural changes, we refer to the process as colonization. Okay. Next, to preserve important records, specialized institutions like Dash and Dash were set up. Archives and museums were set up. These two are important institutions. These both are archives and museums were specialized institutions. Okay. Okay, fine. The British believed that a country had to be properly known before it could be effectively administered. Okay. So that they brought surveys. Okay. Next, seventh one. Dash thought that all Asian societies were at a lower level of civilization. Who thought that? J.S. Mill. J.S. Mill thought that all Asian societies were at a lower level of civilization. Okay. Next. The first Governor General of India was Dash, Warren Hastings. Okay, fine. Now, let's see, choose the correct answer. The first question is, a history of British India was written by Dash. Option A, Hugh Mill. Option B, David Mill. Option C, James Mill. Option D, Jones Mill. Which is the right answer? James Mill. A history of British India was written by James Mill. Right? Then second question. Dash saw preparation of maps as essential to the process of domination. Dash saw preparation of maps as essential to the process of domination. Option A, James Rennell. Option B, James Mill. Option C, Jones Mill. And option D, David Mill. Which is the right answer? The right answer is option A, James Rennell. Okay. Fine. Next, third question. Dash divided into Indian history into Hindu, Muslim and British. Who divided Indian history into Hindu, Muslim and British? Option A, James Rennell. Option B, James Mill. Option C, Jones Mill. And option D, Hugh Mill. The right answer is option B, James Mill. Okay, fine. The fourth question is, a person who is specialized in the art of beautiful writing. A person who is specialized in the art of beautiful writing dash. A person who is specialized in the art of beautiful writing is known as option A, cartographer. Option B, calligraphist. Option C, artist. And option D, chemist. Which is the right answer? Calligraphist. Okay. A person who is specialized in the art of beautiful writing is known as calligraphist. Okay. Next one. Practice of surveying became common under dash administration. Practice of surveying became common under dash administration. Whose administration? Who introduced surveys in India? British. So, practice of surveying became common under British administration. They only conducted census. Every 10 years only they conducted census and zoological survey, anthropological survey, forest survey, right? So, they practiced survey. So, during the British period, practice of surveying became common under their administration. Okay, fine. Next. The official records tell us about what the dash were interested in. The official records tell us about what the dash were interested in. Option A, government. Option B, common people. Option C, tribal. Option D, peasants. Which one is the right answer? Government. Okay. See, seventh question. Dash is certainly about changes that occur over time. Option A, history. Option B, geography. Option C, civics. Option D, economics. Which is certainly about changes that occur over time? Of course, history. What is history? History is certainly about changes that occur over time. Isn't it? So, option A, history is the right answer. Then eighth question. Dash rule represented all the forces of progress and civilization. Dash rule represented all the forces of progress and civilization. Which one is the right answer? Option A, Indian. Option B, British. Option C, Muslim. Option D, Afghan. The right answer is option B, British. British rule represented all the forces of progress and civilization. Okay, fine. Next, ninth one. Many dash refer to the British period as colonial. Many historians, option A, historians, many historians refer to the British period as colonial. So, option for ninth question, answer is option A. Okay. The 10th question is, one important source is the dash of the British administration. Which one is the important source? Option A, social records. Option B, business records. Option C, food records. Option D, official records. Which one helps to historian to write the history? Official records. So one important source is the official records of the British administration. Okay, the 11th question is, popular booklets were sold in the dash. Popular booklets were sold in the dash. Option A, markets. Option B, local bazaars. Option C, roads. And option C, malls. Which one is the right answer? Option B, local bazaars. Okay. The 12th question is, history was experienced and lived by the dash and dash. History was experienced and lived by the dash and dash. Option A, tribal and peasants. Option B, rich and poor. Option C, Hindus and Muslims. Option D, British and troops. So the right answer is tribal and peasants. So history was experienced and lived by the tribal and peasants. Next, 13th one. Historians use sources in writing about the lost dash years of Indian history. Which one is the right answer? Option D, 250 years of Indian history. Okay, fine. If you have any doubt, you can check with this answer. Okay. Now, let me ask you true or false. Okay. First one is, newspapers are official records. True or false? No, it's false. Official records are government's letters, documents, their orders, decisions, agreements. These are all the official records. Okay. Then census was held every 5 years. No, it is false. Census was held every 10 years. Right. So, according to James Rennell, India was not capable of progress without British help. False. Why this is false? This statement was given by James Mill, not by James Rennell. So that this is the false. Then, dates do not have importance to know our history. Is this right? Is this true or false? Of course false, because dates are very important in history, right? So, dates have importance to know our history. Then, official documents help us understand what the people of the country think. Official documents help us understand what the people of the country think. Is this true or false? False, because these official documents help us understand what the officials, what the government officials thought, their ideas. Okay, so it showed their ideas only, not, it won't help us to understand common people. So this is false. Now let's see, match the following. Okay, first one, a place where historical documents or records of a government etc. are kept. Where the important documents or records of a government are kept. Options are A, museum or colonization or archives or carrying out service. Which one is the answer? Archives. So a place where historical documents or records of a government etc. are kept in archives. Next one, a building in which the objects of historical or scientific interest are kept to show them to the public. Where the objects of historical or scientific interest are kept? Of course it will be in museum. So for second one, museum. The third one, an important taste of the British administration. Which one will come? Carrying out surveys. Then subjugation of one country by another. Of course, colonization. Why? Subjugation, dominating of one country by another. So subjugation of one country by another, colonization. Okay. So this is the answers for match. Now let's see very short answer. VSA question and answers. Okay. The first question is, how important are dates? Dates are very important in history, right? Dates tell us the events, kings and their policies and the battles which occurred at a particular time, right? The second one is, what was an important aspect of the histories written by British historians in India? Generally, British historians gave more importance to the governor generals. So, the rule of each governor general was an important aspect. What was an important aspect? The rule of each governor general was an important aspect. Okay. The third question is, how did paintings project governor general? Paintings projected governor general as powerful figures. So, paintings projected governor generals as powerful figures. Okay, fine. The fourth question is, what is history? History is a record of people, places and changes that occur over time. So, what is history? History is a record of people, places and changes that occur over time. Okay, fifth one is, name the types of surveys. Botanical surveys, zoological surveys, archaeological surveys, anthropological surveys and forest surveys. Okay, these are the types of surveys. Okay, what do you mean by colonization? When the subjugation of one country by another leads to these kinds of political, economic, social and cultural changes, we refer to the process as colonization. So colonization, what do you mean by colonization? When the subjugation of one country by another leads to these kinds of political, economic, social and cultural changes, we refer to the process as colonization. Okay, fine. Next, who was the last Governor General of India? Lord Mountbatten. Lord Mountbatten was the last Viceroy of India or last Governor General of India. Who was the first Governor General of India? Lord Warren Hastings, right? Here the question is, who was the last Governor General of India? The answer is Lord Mountbatten was the last Governor General of India or Viceroy of India. Okay, fine. Now let's see, complete the dateline. Okay, first one, 1773. Lord Warren Hastings became the first Governor General of India. Who became the first Governor General of India? Warren Hastings. In which year? 1773. Okay. Then 1782, first map produced by James Rennell. Do you remember? First map. What is the name of the map? Yeah, map of Hindustan, right? So, yeah, first map produced by James Rennell. Then 1817, James Mill published a massive 3-volume work. What is the name of the book? A History of British India. Then in 1920s, what happened? The National Archives of India came up. Okay, fine. Then children, I will send short answer and long answer in the form of PDF. So you copy it in your SST classwork, right? Then I hope you copied the question and answer geography lesson 1 resources which I gave into the previous video, right? So For that, long answer is pending, right? I will send it also form of PDF. So you copy it everything. I hope you complete these 2 lessons properly. Okay, thank you.